Rarely do you find or come across someone who dislikes chocolates, isn't it? It is one of the products that has universal demand in every country. There are multiple varieties of chocolates, some of which include plain milk, fruit and nut, dark, mint, non-sugar, honey-based, fruit-based ones, etc. among hundreds of varieties that are available in the market today. These days, you also find chocolates in a range of sizes and also packaging which are suited for different occasions. Right from you have bite-sized chocolates to large tin boxes, you can find their presence in almost every commercial outlet. The diversity of India and its various communities have brought about a festive celebration almost every single day of the year across the nation. In addition to that, you have special occasions and festivals where chocolates as well as traditional Indian sweets are always in great demand. Not to forget, India is a country that has its calendar full of festivals in each and every month. For Indians, celebrations means just one thing, and that is sweets and chocolates. Be it Diwali or Raksha Bandhan, Eid, Christmas or a New Year, people have the tendency to give chocolates to each other whatever the occasion might be. Let me tell you that in the year 2020, the chocolate industry in India was valued at rupees 190 crores. So well, this is enough to inspire anyone to set foot in this industry, which is known to create sweet memories for all. So if you're someone who just loves to make chocolates at home, be it for your friend whom you're meeting after a long haul, or for a birthday present, or for a reconciliation with the loved ones, then you can soon turn this habit of yours into a money-making venture just at home. So when we talk about making chocolate, it has to do a lot of creativity and innovation, right? So what are the skills that is required to do this and run this business?
Honestly, you don't need a lot of skill for this. You need more of a presence of mind. You need a little more of creativity, I would say. Because making chocolate is actually an easy process. The way I'm going to show it to you today, of course, there's a more complicated, much more advanced process. But that requires an industrial setup. And it requires like this special table which costs about 1.8 to 2 lakhs. And not everybody will be looking at investing that much right from the day go. So, to start a small scale business, what you need is a basic kitchen setup. So, you will need like a gas or a microwave or an induction, and you will need a fridge, and you will need a space, basically a sterile space to work in.
Okay, so talking about the basic things, what are the other basic things that they need to keep in mind and what they should not do when they are running this business?
One thing that I see that a lot of people tend to overlook is the cleanliness factor. So one thing I would repeatedly emphasize is make sure it is a clean process. Make sure it is when I say clean process, not that the process is dirty, but the way things are made, maintaining certain hygiene. A lot of people would slip up on that. Maybe, you have children at home or you have pets. It becomes a bit compromised. So you have to be very careful all the time that it is a clean environment for the process to happen. Secondly, be very open about your dealings, be transparent. I mean, it's important for the person to know that they're coming to a place that believes in them and also they can believe in more easily.
Yeah. So how do you maintain hygiene?
We have a special space for production at home. So what I do is nobody else is allowed into that room. It's only my space. So that is one way I make sure that nobody else enters that space. So there's no chances of contamination. Second, I have vendors that I've worked with for the last 8 years. I haven't changed a single vendor. So that way I make sure that every batch I make has a consistent quality. So these are the two ways in which you can make sure that you're constantly giving the same output.
Okay. So when we talk about setting up a business, a lot of planning and research has to go into it. So what kind of planning and research a person has to do when they are starting this business?
One is have a cap on the investment you're going to make. So let's say you decide to start this business today and you decide that, hey, in 6 months time, I want to make sure I'm profitable. I mean, I'm going to take it to a very basic level. Honestly, if you do it right, you'll be profitable from day one. But let's assume that, there are various other factors at play and you can't really keep track of what is happening on a daily basis. Then have a financial cap because that's the easiest thing to do. One is you either set a limit to how much you're going to invest into the business before it starts getting profitable, and also have an eye on accounting. Make sure that you have your setup very complete. So when I say setup, it can be a simple kitchen setup. You'll see today how you can make this in a kitchen. And so what is important is that you have for the lack of a better word, the approval of people that you live with immediately, whether it's your roommates, whether it's your family, it's your friends, or, you're just living in a colony, you will need some certain approvals to go through.
So when we set up a business, the first and foremost thing we think of is, will this business run successfully in future? So would you like to tell our viewers more about the scope of this business?
The scope is tremendous. So today, if you look at it from the birth of a child till maybe a retirement, or even, I mean, we haven't ever done a funeral thing, but I'm sure that eventually people would want their family members to be remembered by nicely. So whether it's festivals, whether it's weddings, whether it's birthdays, whether it's just you're meeting some friend after a long time, it's always a nice gesture to take something. So the scope is tremendous. How you get into the scope as a business is what becomes a personal thing. So when I say I deal with chocolate like it's a medium, we make Ganesha idols for Ganesh Chaturthi, we make Diwali crackers for Diwali, we make New Year, hampers, we make Christmas hampers. So effectively, because we live in a country like India, the beauty is we have so many festivals, we have so many occasions to gift, right? So be it the birth of a child, announcement hampers, to wedding, to engagement. I mean, the scope is endless. It's really about how much a person is willing to work in terms of their own creativity here.
How much is the minimum initial investment required for this business?
I started very small, but then of course I didn't start this with the idea that I'll be converting it into a business.
Okay.
So when I started, I spent about 2,500. 1,000 rupees was for the workshop that I attended, and 1,500 I bought raw materials. Of course, this is keeping in mind that I had a refrigerator at home, and I had a microwave, and I had a gas, the stuff. But for somebody who's just starting off, I would say go easy with the initial investment. Of course, if you're sitting on lakhs and lakhs of rupees, there's nothing stopping you from setting up an industrial, a voluminous unit. So in which case you will need an industrial space, you will need lakhs of rupees, and you will need big refrigerators and big boilers and, big melting pots basically. So that is for people who want to do it large scale. For those who want to do it small scale, like let's say today you get very inspired and you decide to go home and, start a business or just start this for hobby, I think you'd be looking at roughly about 2,000 rupees to start with, like 2,000 rupees for a good 3-4 kgs of output. And then, you can start giving it to your friends and family and get feedback, figure out if there's something more you want to do with it. Figure out if this is even something that you enjoy, because a lot of people don't enjoy this process. So, there is always that thing, but I think for a starter, not beyond 5,000. I would say 5,000 is a great luxury budget to work with. For anybody who wants to start, 2,000 is a good amount to start with. And then, of course, over a period of time, I've invested lakhs and lakhs of rupees into this. So that is something that is a long-term thing that people have to think of. Yeah.
So this 2,000 that you're mentioning, is it provided that you already have other materials that you need?
You need a fridge, and you need a gas setup, and you need a setup to work in, like a kitchen setup.
Okay.
Other than that, there are no other overheads. Assuming you're going to do this from home. If you want to do it from an industrial setup, then that is in lakhs. That is already in lakhs, because you'll have to rent a place or buy a place, and you'll have to buy the equipment, which is, multiple thousands. It's not a small amount. This 2,000 figure, 2,000, 2,500 is for people who want to just experiment at home, just try the first few trials, which will happen at home.
So how can one arrange the funds?
Now there are a lot of loans that are available. So there's Mudra, there is, there is PM's fund for entrepreneurship. There are a lot of funding that is happening, even in the non-government sector. There are a lot of private players who are, we keep hearing angel funding, unicorn funding, all of those things. So if you have a business plan in place, like let's say if somebody wants to, start this, they will have to come up with a plan and show how they will produce money out of that investment.
Okay.
So, any business has to be profitable to be sustaining, to be sustaining itself.
Right.
So, even if the first year you're undergoing losses, like if you look at it, the first 2,500 that I spent, I never made money from it.
Okay.
Because obviously it went away as freebies, and you see that with big companies now, they'll give you promo codes, you'll get 100 rupees off, they'll give you free rides in their cabs, whatever it is. So these are all things that you need to decide as a business, and then you come up with a business plan, you present it across, various places. One is the government, if you want government funding. There's Mudra, there's Prime Minister's Fund for Entrepreneurship. I'm sure there are other funds like MSME entrepreneurship funds. So all these places you can apply for loans. That would be one way to raise capital.
Is there any kind of government subsidies or facilities available to run this business?
Yes, there are a lot of subsidies for small businesses. I think there is a 20% subsidy, if I'm not wrong, for small businesses. But again, you'll have to check this up, because I have never availed a loan. So I do not know this. There is subsidies for women. For women entrepreneurship, there has been a lot of encouragement from the government. So women do get up to a 35% rebate. So this is confirmed. This is a crucial piece of information. So there have been different. All governments have tried to encourage entrepreneurship. Whether it's this government, previous governments, or even 20 years ago. they have always figured that business is probably the future because you can employ so many other people. So they've always been very encouraging of business people. It's just that people will have to do in their research, do the legwork, find out what it takes, have a good project report ready because that is very important. And then I think you can apply for a loan.
So when we talk about chocolates, how do you price them? Like say, for example, dark chocolates are usually very expensive.
Yes.
And when compared to the milk.
Right. So there are 2-3 grades that we make dark chocolate in. One is 55% cocoa, one is 45% cocoa, and one is 80% cocoa. 75 to 80. So 75 to 80 is of course way more expensive. We charge about 250 per 100 grams. For normal dark chocolate, we charge about 125 per 100 grams, depending on nuts and all that. If we are adding nuts and fruit, we charge about 150 per 100 grams, which is about 10 small pieces. And if you're talking about, say, liquor, we charge almost 200 to 250 per piece. Per 100 grams, which is 10 pieces. So it's about 20-25 per piece.
Yeah. So do you have to negotiate with the customers when?
Always. So see, it's also about what the customer wants, right? So if you need something very exclusive and designer, you will be willing to pay for it. In a lot of times, if it's bulk orders or bigger orders, the customer often tells you, this is my budget and this is what I'm looking at, which makes it very easy for us. So one of the first things I do is I always ask them for a budget, especially if it's birthday party, return gifts. And I know that most people, when they have a party, I know that they have a budget for everything allocated. So then we ask them what they would want and they give us the budget and then we work on it.
So is there any particular season where you make more profit?
Usually it's Diwali. So our season effectively kicks in from Raksha Bandhan onwards. So Raksha Bandhan gifting, Friendship Day before that, Friendship Day, Raksha Bandhan, then you have your Diwali, you have New Year, you have Christmas, you have Valentine's Day, then you have your wedding orders, and in between there are birthdays. So I wouldn't say there is one specific season. Of course, Diwali is bigger because in India, everybody is gifting around Diwali. Everybody is giving something or the other to everybody else. So I think Diwali would be a big thing. The other thing is New Year. Of course, that also we get a lot of orders. If you're talking about individual orders, that's Valentine's Day. We get a lot of loved up people on Valentine's Day who want to give something unique. So I think it's great. I think the whole idea of, having different things for every season is sort of important.
So you can make profit all throughout the year.
Yes. I mean, the margins will reduce because if you're like, for example, if I'm making one hard box for a Valentine's Day order, let's say I'm charging 200 or 250 for that. And then for Diwali, I'm making 1,000 boxes and I'm getting paid only 200 per box. Of course, the net profit seems lesser on the box and the other box. But you're making so much more because you're making 1,000 boxes of it. So I think it's very important to have this in your mind. For retail, you will always get higher profits. But for wholesale, you will not get a lot of profit. You'll get anything between 5 to 100%. I mean, depending on how you're stationing yourself. So it is important for people to think about that. Like if it is not profitable, nobody will run a business. After a point, if you're not making profits, you'll have to close it down. Which is why I initially said, always have a cap. If you don't know how much you're making, it's better to stop making investment into it after 6 months because then you're just wasting your time.
With the investment as little as just ₹1,000, you can easily turn your chocolate making habit into a full-fledged business. Well, every business does come with a fair share of challenges, but one thing is for sure, your passion for chocolates and zeal to learn and explore will take you to a great height. You can start this cost-effective business just right away. But before that, it's always good to have a practical worldview of the business. So what are you waiting for? Hurry up and download Freedom app from Play Store or App Store and get access to the complete course on homemade chocolate business. Also, before going, do not forget to hit on the like button, subscribe to our channel for more such financial content, and do not forget to hit on the bell icon to get notified for our next video. Thank you for watching IndianMoney.com. Get wise and break free.